In our Battleground state series, we had Trump and Biden in a dead heat until it came down to congressional votes for Maine 2 and Nebraska 2. Well, our next guest actually says the most significant 6 states that Trump won in 2016 and must win again in order to get to 270 are as follows: Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, Texas, and Iowa. Let's bring him in to break this down. Joining us now is political analyst and Newsmax contributor Mark Halperin. Mark, welcome back to the show.
Good to be here, Sean and Lyndsay. Thank you.
You bet. All right, Mark, if he loses any one of those 6, can he get to 270? And if so, how difficult is it?
Sean, mathematically, one of those 6 states could be replaced. You left Georgia off the list, but those 6 are replaceable mathematically, but they're not replaceable politically. If he loses a single one of those 6, he can't win. Now, the good news for the president is if you look at the polling in those 6 states, there's not a single one of them where he trails by more than 2 percentage points if you look at the average of the real polls that matter. And in some of them, he's ahead or he's even. So those are winnable states. He won them all last time. But if you're watching election night and you see a single one of those go to Joe Biden, I don't think the president can win.
Okay. And is there one that you think is more vulnerable? I know you mentioned they're trending. I think obviously Texas and Florida are big electorally speaking. But is there one right now that if you had to say, of those 6, I'm worried about it, which one would it be?
Yeah. For the president and his supporters and from them in reporting with Republicans and Democrats, North Carolina right now seems to be the one that's the most vulnerable. The suburban vote there, the Senate race there, that's the one I would watch. That's the one I think is the one the president is going to have the hardest time winning. But as I'll say again, they're all must-wins, but they're all winnable.
Okay. Beyond North Carolina and these 6 states, or maybe it is one of them, what is the first thing that is going to be assigned to you about how the night is going to go?
Well, how the president's doing, in particularly with suburban voters, with women voters. We know he's going to lose women. We know he's almost certainly going to lose the suburbs, but he must hold his own. And then in all these states, as you know, Lyndsay, what the president did last time, he needs to do on steroids this time. He needs to turn out voters in the in the rural areas to make up for losses in the suburbs and the urban areas. If he does that, if we start to see rural counties coming in where the president is overperforming his vote totals, not just his percentage, but his vote totals from 4 years ago, that's when we can see that the president's got a chance to win, not just those 6, but the last 2 he needs to get to 270.
Mark, most of Florida, with the exception of the Panhandle and North Carolina, come in at 7 o'clock. So to Lyndsay's question, I just want to follow up. Is there something that you're looking at? Because you can't necessarily look at those votes and discern outside of exit polling, suburban women or, married women or what have you. Is there a county or a town or something that you're going to look at and say, we just asked, and Susie Wiles was saying Volusia County in Florida, but is there something that you're looking at saying, oh my gosh, he's going to have a good night tonight, or he's going to have a bad night based on one of those 2 states, something inside of them?
Yep. Well, again, if you're not talking about the exit polls with the demographics, but you're just talking about raw returns, as you know, Sean, Florida's a state which, if it doesn't have problems, will count quickly. I'm looking at the raw vote total. So go to any rural county in Florida, not the Panhandle, because it reports later, as you said, it closes later. But if you look at any northern county in Florida, how many votes did the president get last time? How many votes did he get this time? He's going to need more votes to win because turnout's going to be significantly higher. It's not complicated math. So can he get a handful even of more votes in rural areas around the country? Add it up. That's a powerful multiplier, but that's what he's going to need to win.
Mark, you talked to both campaigns, the Biden campaign and the Trump campaign. From what you're hearing from them, how are they both feeling on each side?
I'd say the Biden campaign is a lot like the Obama campaign was in 2012 against Mitt Romney. Quiet confidence, not sharing a lot about their data, but making it clear that they believe that the worst case for Joe Biden is a solid win, closing in on 300 electoral votes, clearing the 270 bar pretty easily. And as Sean and I discussed this afternoon, I'm not hearing from the Trump people very much doubt. Normally, if you're covering a campaign that's behind, as the president's campaign has been, you'll hear from some people a little bit more pessimism. Some, even the more optimistic people, will say, I think we can win. I'm hearing nothing but the kind of quiet confidence I heard in the last 96 hours from the Trump campaign 4 years ago. They believe they're going to win, that they've got multiple paths, and that this is a matter of the pollsters getting it off again, as they did 4 years ago to some extent.
You know, Mark, the big prize tomorrow night is obviously the presidential race. That's what we're all looking at. But control of the Senate is at stake as well. You know, you've been watching these races for a long time. Is there a race out there that might be the surprise upset, either on the Republican side or on the Democratic side, that people should maybe keep an eye on?
Well, the Michigan Senate race, the Republican candidate, John James, has done extremely well. He's a black candidate who, if the president can get close in Michigan, could push him over the top. But that's a race which, if the Democrats don't hold their incumbent seat, it's going to make it much harder for the Republicans, to the Democrats, rather, to get the majority. Right now, Republican incumbents in Maine, in Iowa, in North Carolina look better than they did just a couple weeks ago. They may not all make it. It's probably, as everyone has said, it's probably going to come down to the two races in Georgia, which now appear both likely to go to runoffs, assuming Republicans can hold some of those incumbents and perhaps pick up that seat in Michigan.
Yeah. We just have a couple seconds left, Mark, but do you think that we're going to have an answer by tomorrow night, or is this going to go multiple days on?
Lyndsay, I'll end where we began, the significant six. If the president can win all the significant six or have them effectively be ties by tomorrow night, Pennsylvania will go into overtime. Arizona could go into overtime. So if he wins all the significant six or has them to be a tie, I think we'll go at least a couple more days. If he loses a single one, I think we can start to focus on the Senate races.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.